Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, July 8, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know whether that's been like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future weather in your specific area. Alright, so we need to highlight this post that was made here by Eric Webb on Twitter. He's actually a government meteorologist, part of the weather industrial complex. And from time to time, he makes some very accurate posts about the Atlantic hurricane season. So he stated here, latest Euro weeklies are hinting at a favorable sub-seasonal window for tropical development in the Atlantic in or around early to mid-August, and this is the map that he highlighted. So let me zoom in a bit so that you all can understand. Let me zoom out just a slight bit. Okay, right here. This is the sweet spot. So we're looking at our neck of the woods. Look at the bottom of the image right here. This is our neck of the woods where we have, well, the Caribbean, the main development region. We see South America being shown. But he's highlighting a time period right in here, starting at July 11, going all the way to August 21. And if you look at where we are located in this area, anywhere from 120 degrees west, looking eastward, this is our neck of the woods. And regarding the sinking air, which is basically, the lack of thunderstorms, making it hard for systems to develop. We see a lot of that in the yellows, oranges, and reds for the time period from July 11 going all the way through to July 21. But look at that. From July 21 going all the way down into maybe August 6, maybe even spilling into what? August 16, especially right here where we have the greens. All of the greens represent rising air, so it's easier for tropical storms to become, well, tropical waves to become tropical depressions, if not tropical storms. Easier rising atmosphere for these clouds to develop in general. And basically all of this is propagating eastward from the western Pacific over in here in the Indian Ocean. So it's going to be propagating eastward into the eastern Pacific and then eventually into the Caribbean. And then eventually right over here across Africa. We have Africa right here. So that is where we could, set up something to formulate. Could we get some more systems formulating in the Gulf, in the Southwestern Atlantic, in the Caribbean? And then eventually, this time period from, looks like what, August 1, going all the way through to August maybe 15, we could be getting in on some amount of tropical waves coming off of Africa when you have a lot of rising air over there. We just have to stay tuned to see exactly what unfolds. We know that these maps aren't 100% set in stone. I hope that you all understand the explanation that was given. Greens into the blues, rising air, yellows into the oranges, sinking air. So lack of rainfall, lack of thunderstorms, lack of tropical depression, tropical storms in the sinking air, rising air. Easier for these systems to develop. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Not saying that something is going to form during that time, but it's going to be easier for something to formulate given that there is a lot of rising motion taking place, less stable and dry air over the basin. However, the US Climate Prediction Center came out with their latest global tropic disasters outlook today, and is highlighting the time period from July 16 to July 22, as well as July 23 to July 29. And as you can see, first of all, the Western Pacific definitely on a roll with what's expected. We see a lot of greens that represents above average rainfall. We also see a lot of red and white patterns that represents what we see here: tropical cyclone formation probability, both in the 20, 40, and 60% ranges. So those areas to the south of Japan, to the southeast of China, near Taiwan and the Philippines, definitely going to be very interesting to see exactly what unfolds over there within the next 7 to 20 days. This time frame, July 16 to July 29, very interesting. And we see that our neck of the woods is showing nothing more than the browns. Look at the browns, the light shades of browns and the dark shades of browns for the 2 time periods. And that represents below average rainfall probability. So it's definitely coinciding with what Eric Webb was talking about. A lot of sinking air, a lot of, lack of rainfall or whatever the case may be. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Not saying that we can't get rainfall. We can definitely get rainfall, especially across the western end of the island for sure. And we also see that there's even a small chance of something formulating right here across the northern Gulf. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can see that tropical cyclone is not expected. Tropical cyclone development or activity is not expected during the next 7 days, according to the latest update that came out at 6:16 p.m. Jamaica time. And this is why we don't see much of anything. Caribbean, definitely chilling for the most part. There's a few thunderstorms across sections of the Bahamas, Cuba associated with the troughs. A tropical wave exiting the coast of Africa right there. Nothing significant at this time. I wonder that if we do get something to formulate in the Atlantic, the next name on the list is Dexter. However, on the Eastern Pacific side of things, same thing. Those code oranges, those code yellows that we had dissipated are not really looking impressive enough to be highlighted by the Hurricane Center anymore. And as such, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. But we still see the leftover clouds associated with them to the south of Mexico right there. So it's good to see that the Eastern Pacific is starting to chill out for the first time since May. And we know that if something should form, the next name on the list would be Gil or Henriette. However, on the Joint Typhoon Center, Warning Center side of things over here in the Western Pacific, very interesting that we still have that typhoon over in here, definitely pushing inland into portions of China as we speak. And it's sad because we're still getting a lot of heavy rainfall into portions of Taiwan, and Taiwan was, on the receiving end of a direct hit from this system. As you can see here, it is currently making landfall into portions of China, packing maximum sustained winds of 35 knots. So it is definitely still a low-end tropical storm, about to be downgraded back to a tropical depression. Tropical storms are basically anywhere from 34 to 64 knots, and it's packing 35 knots. So it's low-end, closer to tropical depression status. So it's about to dwindle back down with the intensity back to a tropical depression. And as you can see here, the Taiwan radar definitely showing that they've still been getting in on a lot of heavy rainfall, as you can see here. I mean, look at all of this, all of the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds. All of this represents some moderate to some very heavy rainfall, and Taiwan has been on the receiving end, especially the western portions or the northwestern portions of the island. And as such, we have posts here from Focus Taiwan's Twitter page stating heavy thunderstorms with sustained lightning and thunder Tuesday morning has caused flooding and power outages in several areas in central Taiwanese county of Changhua, including Lukang and Huatan townships. And it definitely has a lot to do with the leftovers from this tropical storm. Look at the flooding taking place. Another one right here, another post. Changhua County was drenched by intense rain and thunderstorms Tuesday morning, with over 250 millimeters of rainfall recorded in just 3 hours. That's crazy, and the system is making landfall in China as we speak, and they are still getting drenched with a lot of rainfall in Taiwan. Well, this is what these systems do. Switching gears, let us see what's happening on the Atlantic side of things. The surface map right here is still showing that we have ridges of high pressure dominating to the north that are responsible for sending all of these tropical waves and the Saharan dust from east to west across the main development region through the Caribbean. A tropical wave right here to the south of Hispaniola, a tropical wave right here to the northeast of South America, another tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we see the troughs that are currently affecting portions of the Bahamas. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out the clouds associated with the trough affecting portion of the Bahamas, with some cloud showers and thunderstorms. There's supposedly a tropical wave somewhere in here. We can definitely make out the moisture right in there, pushing through from east to west. There's supposedly another tropical wave somewhere in here, another tropical wave somewhere in here, but there's so much dry air around there, Saharan dust. Definitely hard to make out some of these tropical waves, but we can definitely make out the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, July 8, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some central and western parishes on Tuesday afternoon. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? Although no post was made for the morning, we definitely saw some rainfall on the maps for the waters to the north of us, but some of those rain bands came in this morning because a post was made at around 4:25 a.m. on our Twitter page as well as on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at that time, early this morning, we saw some thunderstorms coming in from the northeast. Definitely affected portions of Portland and St. Mary for sure. We saw the sparkling white dots, some isolated thunder showers for sure. If you reside in Portland, confirm that early morning rainfall. Then at around 9:05 a.m., the visible satellite imagery was posted and highlighted some clouds bringing some overcast skies and some isolated thunder showers to sections of St. Thomas. I definitely got in on some of that rainfall and I heard the thunder for sure. Then by around 1:15 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted once again, highlighting some clouds bringing some overcast skies, if not some thunder showers, to sections of Hanover, Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, section of southern St. James, some isolated showers across central portions of the island as well. Then by around 2:25 p.m., the infrared satellite imagery was posted showing the thunderstorm that were still lashing portions of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, sections of Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, all of these sparkling white dots representing that lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes kind of activity. And the visible satellite images of Jamaica right here confirming what took place. Definitely saw the thunderstorms, especially across central and western parishes. And even while we were losing the sunlight, we still had some thunderstorms building across northern St. Catherine, northwestern St. Andrew, section of St. Anne, section of eastern Trelawney, and even offshore right here, Negril, we saw some thunderstorms building for sure. And we can see that even better on the infrared as soon as we finish those thunderstorms out west. Had brief thunderstorms across sections of St. Anne. Then we had brief thunderstorms across the waters to the south of Negril, but we see the cloud toss being sheared up towards the north by that upper level wind shear, just as we stated it would in yesterday's video. But nothing really took place in downtown Kingston today. Definitely sunny and windy, as you can see here. People walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for free on YouTube for you to watch. So subscribe today to their channel so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming that rainfall that took place today across especially western parishes, more so northern parishes for sure, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth. This map does indeed paint quite the picture for you might have had that rainfall for sure. And we even had at least one it looks like yes, at least one comment here from Night Flexed, when asked what the weather was like in their area, they said the weather was dark, and they even sent a GIF. We can see the trees, we can see the dark clouds. I wonder if it actually rained at that time, but this is quite a good picture, seeing these dark clouds. So more than likely they might have been out west, if not out north, which they stated which parish they were at though. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website and let us see what's happening right now. The latest still image is showing 0005 UTC, which is actually 7:05 p.m. So this just came out 5, 10, 15, 16 minutes ago. So it just came out 16 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:21 p.m. right now. As you can see, we have some isolated thunder showers to the southwest of Westmoreland, to the northwest of Hanover, pushing off towards the west as we speak, which we had the latest Cuban Doppler radar to show, the latest Guantanamo Bay, and the latest Cayman radar are here though. So let us reload those. Latest Cuban Doppler radar is showing 8:20 a.m. this morning. That was 7:20 a.m. this morning. At that time, we definitely saw some rain bands to the north of us, to the west of us, to the east of us. And the Guantanamo Bay radar, on the other hand, showing some rainfall as we speak across sections of southeastern Cuba. The waters between Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba right here. The blues, the greens, the yellows, some light to moderate to heavy rainfall. Not really seeing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica at this time though. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, should be showing the rain bands that we just saw, the one right here to the southwest of Westmoreland, as well as the ones right here to the northwest of Hanover, definitely coinciding with the latest infrared right here, definitely showing that rainfall underneath those clouds that we're seeing on the satellite imagery. So it definitely adds up. We're also seeing some rainfall across the waters of southern Cuba and some rainfall to the west of the Cayman Islands. And what's happening right now over here, the live camera from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, the halfway tree cam right here, showing transport center. Let's it a bit more live. Okay, there we go. So it's nighttime now. We can see people still walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business, and it should continue to be a fair evening around there for sure. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and it makes sense that they have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay because they got rainfall today, if not cloud cover. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, remaining at 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. The temperature forecast from the GFS for tomorrow still shows Jamaica embedded in degrees that we know represents is 0. That's average temperatures. And we know the average temperature for the month of July across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So that should be the temperature forecast for Jamaica on a Wednesday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online Twitter page that we have to highlight. I know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Wednesday, July 9, 2025. We're referring to Glencoe in the parish of St. Elizabeth from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well as Rabbit and Bullsav in the same parish from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are also referring to Stettin to Alberton in Trelawney from 8:15 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pine Hill Terrace, Pineapple in St. Anne, 9:15 a.m. to 4 p.m. Cave Hill Mountain in Westmoreland from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Malcolm Heights, Lucy, Copperwood Drive, all in Havre from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Lucas Road and Windward Road in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Enfield Retreat in St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, we have Brandon Hill, Mount Horeb, and Mount Zion, all in the parish of St. Andrew from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold food such as salads and fruit. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. So take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. The dry air map still showing that the driest air, as represented by the yellows, oranges, and reds, are over here closest to Africa, definitely keeping the atmosphere more stable, making it harder for it to rain. But what we like to see is the blues. Wherever we have the blues, that's where we know the area is moist. So we have more clouds in these areas for sure, especially across the intertropical convergence zone of the Atlantic. And that's what we want. We want more moisture so that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, so we're heading into July 9 tomorrow. We see Jamaica in the clear, so to July 10. Then by July 11, we're supposed to be starting to get back into some of the Saharan dust. We see the greens, we see the yellows coming through. We see some of these oranges as well. Quite a plume coming in, but not too vigorous, but it could definitely, be noticeable. Seeing the Saharan dust within the air, starting July 11, July 12 and 13 possibly as well. And it can trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons as well. And the wave forecast for tomorrow across the Caribbean still showing that the highest waves are to the north of Colombia, to the south of Jamaica. The dark blues and the purples that represents anywhere from 2 to 2.5 meter wave heights, and that's because of the strong east or east southeasterly wind, averaging anywhere from 20 to 25 knots in the bright greens and the yellows for sure. But zooming in on Jamaica's wave forecast, still seeing that the highest waves are on the southeastern side, 1.7 meter wave height to the south of St. Thomas, 1 meter wave height to the south of Clarendon, 0.8 of a meter wave height to the south of Westmoreland, 0.6 of a meter wave height to the north of Hanover, 0.9 of a meter wave height to the north of St. Anne, 1.3 meter wave height to the north of Portland, and that's because of the easterly or east-southeasterly flow. It's definitely looking more east-southeasterly-ish. And we see the wind should be 16 knots right here, 13 knots to the north of Portland, 16 knots basically on the south coast, and we see where the air should be piling up once again across sections of maybe some central and western parishes. That's where we have the least amount of winds, so that's where we could have those low level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. And then we have that daytime heating, definitely bring rainfall in those areas. And look at where the upper level winds are going, more of a southwesterly kind of flow here, so definitely could bring more overcast skies section of some northern parishes, if not more rainfall to northern Jamaica. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, there is contrast. There's definitely contrast on the rainfall forecast maps for tomorrow. We didn't see much of anything in the morning, but that doesn't mean that we can't get rainfall in the morning somewhere. But look at the Euro and the GFS. The Euro is showing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, especially in the north coast right here on the border of St. Anne and St. Mary. GFS making a bit more sense with the rainfall across central and western parishes like Hanover, Westmoreland, section of St. James, Trelawney, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester. My bet is on the GFS. Euro has been, not so correct regarding these afternoon rainfall forecasts. We'll see exactly what unfolds, because the Euro is showing rainfall from my area in St. Thomas. I'll definitely take it. Fingers crossed I get the rainfall, because it has been hot and dry. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing that within the next 24 hours, both maps are showing that there should be rainfall. We see up to 0.5 now of an inch of rainfall in the northwest according to the Euro. GFS going all the way up to 0.64 of an inch of rainfall. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it, because we're in the month of July. And in Kingston, as bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive around 50 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive around 3.2 inches of rainfall for the month. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of July or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website to show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Wednesday's forecast. Now we're looking at 12Z on Thursday, which is actually 7 a.m. And we can see some greens that represent some isolated shores across the far eastern end of the island. Let us see what Thursday afternoon looks like. Maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Do we have the agreement on the GFS? Don't see that morning rainfall out east on the GFS. But Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. Interesting. Friday morning, what do we see? Maybe some rainfall across the northern and eastern ends of the island. Friday afternoon, rainfall across maybe eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Let us see what Saturday morning brings. On Saturday morning, we see more of that moisture to the south of us. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, not really seeing much, maybe some isolated showers out east. Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the eastern and western ends of the island. Let us see what Sunday morning shows. On Sunday morning, not really seeing much. Sunday afternoon, we see some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, nothing. Sunday afternoon, rainfall out west. Let us see what Monday morning shows. Monday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Monday afternoon, we see some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, July 15, 2025. You can see some rainfall across the far eastern end of the island. Let's see if we have the same on the GFS. Monday morning, nothing. Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Tuesday, July 15. Not really seeing much of anything at all. The Euro was showing rainfall out east, the GFS not so much. We'll see exactly what happened. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, not much change. The most rainfall, the pattern is stuck. Most rainfall over the next 7 days, northern South America into Central America, wherever we have these dark reds into the purples and the pinks. All of those areas should be picking up what we're seeing here on the key on the right. That's the 2 to 5 inches of rainfall. While other areas that are shaded in the green, yellows, oranges, and reds, at least up to 1 inch of rainfall. Definitely expected for Florida, the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles, and the Lesser Antilles for sure. And regarding Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, the Euro still adamant that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across the far eastern end, up to 55 millimeters of rainfall at that. GFS adamant that is going to be across the western end. We see some contrast, we see some similarities. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Regarding the rest of the Atlantic, as stated, we have a trough of low pressure bringing some thunderstorms to portion of the Bahamas as we speak. We can also see some thunderstorms across section of Cuba. We see some rainfall into portions of Trinidad and Tobago, northern South America as usual. Taking a look at the Doppler radar imagery though, is it going to be showing me? Doesn't seem like it wants to. Nope, doesn't seem like it wants to, but we'll see it either way. The Doppler radar image right here, Barbados site showing some rainfall pushing into section of Martinique. We see some rainfall pushing into section of Tobago as well, coming in from the east. The weather view of Doppler radar images on the other hand, showing some rainfall right here across portion of the Bahamas, section of Cuba. We see some rainfall pushing through Trinidad and Tobago. Venezuela, we see some rainfall across the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, Honduras right there. You can see some rainfall passing through section of Puerto Rico earlier today. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the rainfall should be across sections of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, section of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands, so the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. Some rainfall for Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, El Salvador, well not El Salvador, but Guatemala, and section of the Yucatan. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are almost in agreement with what's expected. And that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.